Okay, so I'm just going to, there's a couple different things in here. And so I'm just going to try and piece this together while I'm going. Okay, first of all, I want to, as Pee Wee Herman said in his movie, I want to hip you to this dude. Look, this word, and I have a friend that speaks very fluent German. She's from Germany. She works in Hollywood. She's written a couple of books and done a couple of movies. This word, this is great. Okay, let's just jump over here real quick. Let me just cut this out. This word here is what the word that was used in this specific incident right here. Let me just grab it. The final solution was when supposedly Hitler said, well, he was told by his henchmen, the only way to get rid of the Jews is to wipe them all out. So this final solution was done in a mountainous area. I can't remember. It was done up in the mountains where they came up with this idea. This word in English means, this is the best, I love this. Homeland Security. This had to do with the elimination of the Jews. Okay, as much as you can believe that any of that happened in the way that they said it did. The other interesting thing that I found is that this is tied into this. New Haven, Connecticut. And we all know what happened in New Haven, Connecticut right here, right next door. See his haircut? Doesn't it look very interesting? Like a Nazi helmet. Now, was this a Nazi done thing? I don't know. The kid on the Christmas tree bulb, which you can't find anymore, which is a Nazi thing called the last bulb on the tree, which had to do with kids and murder, sacrifice. Pretty much the same thing the Jews do, because you know what's interesting about the Nazis and the Jews? The Nazis believe you shouldn't exist if you're not a pure-blooded Nazi, right? Or German. The Jews believe you have no rights to anything on this planet if you're not a full-blooded Jew. Let's see. The Nazis were deep into the Saturnalian cult. The Jews worship it as God, or the God above themselves. Sounds to me like they're in the same camp. So whether this is Jewish or German, it makes no difference, does it really? The AR-15, supposedly this guy killed his mother with. The Masonic AR, the 15 is the fallen, because it's how the Jews write 96. What's interesting, more interesting enough, I mean, this is definitely a Nazi helmet. No kid in this era wears his hair like that. I don't even think they wore their hair like that in the 70s when I was in high school. Okay? What's interesting is this bit right here. See, I'm not going to let this thing go. Sorry. They can cancel as many channels as they want. You see where it says this? This is a random act of kindness. First of all, it's purple and yellow, and we know what that means. Here it says I, and it's got a heart with an X. I, which is the I, is the 9th, which is 9, which is your Saturn. Right? I, X, there's the other Saturn, and then this it's a 3, even though it's a border, it's a 3. So all 3 of those, and then it says, this is a random act of kindness in honor of Noah Posner from Sandy Hook Elementary who loved tacos. Enjoy your lunch. Now let's pull this out right here and just make this much bigger. Now, this goes back to a thing that some asshole supposedly started saying, you need to do 26 acts of kindness. But really what I think it is, and the thing above it will bear it out, at least it's way more than coincidental. I took this and it's 326 acts. Okay? And because we know the 3 is the hashtag and it's a 3, so I looked up Acts 23 at 26:3, and it says, especially so because you are well acquainted with all the Jewish customs and controversies. What are the chances that these numbers in this sequence would be in relation to Jewish people's kids being murdered, the Jews being accused of doing it as a sacrifice, in this being the town right here, this being the town right here, which has to do with Homeland Security, the fact that the Jews pushed this family, especially this Posner crap, pushed for gun reform. Let me just bring that up for you. This broad was pushing for gun control. If you know anything about Nazism, that's exactly what Hitler did. There's no difference between these two groups. Stop believing that there is. Okay? It all has to do with one group thinking that it owns the fucking planet. Okay? So what are the odds that Acts 26:3, which say, and especially so because you are well acquainted with the Jews and their customs and controversies. Controversy, meaning, isn't it interesting? The word controversy is used in the biblical sense dealing with the Jews. That this word for the final solution, which is not, they killed everybody but them fucking Zionist Jews. It's for all mankind, the final solution, or homeland security, as this word in German is exactly what that means, homeland security. That it was that when you look this up, that the name of the town, New Haven, Connecticut, comes up. All that is stinks to fucking high heaven because it's all telling you the same fucking thing. Those kids were murdered by an organization of elitist fraternity scumbags. Period. Call them Nazis, call them Jews. It's all the same thing. They all have the same agenda, and they all want to see everybody gone except them. Period. No kid wears their hair like that. I don't even remember kids back in the 70s wearing their head like that. Nobody. That's a Nazi helmet. It's just their calling card, and it's the Jews are the ones that put up the kids. If you want to call it a communal act between the two, go ahead. I just find it really interesting that if you use these numbers and you look up Acts 26 in the New Testament, it talks about the controversy of the Jews. Well, what is the biggest controversy of the Jews? It's not the worship of the planet Saturn, because nobody knows that. It was butchering your own kid. It was sacrificing your own child. That's the controversy. And I'm sure that this was done intentionally with the purple and yellow paper. Why would anybody give a fuck about Noah Posner liking fucking tacos? There's some real evil shit. And here's the other thing. His mother's name was Nancy. His name was Adam. That means he was a Nancy boy. If you go look, and I'm just doing this on a hunch, and I looked it up, a Nancy boy is a real nice name for a faggot. So I looked up Adam Lanza, homosexual. Guess what? They said he was a closet queer, that they found shit on his internet, on his hard drive. Gee whiz, how's that even possible? Maybe there's more to this than what they're saying. That kid didn't do anything. He's the patsy. This shit stinks to high heaven. This is insanely ludicrous. And the chances that I'm just taking numbers from something that somebody else wrote and is able to pull something out of the Bible, which exactly fits exactly what this story is astronomically damn near impossible. The fact that this word, Reich, the Third Reich, that name works out to Homeland Security that dealt with the final solution in Nazi Germany, which I keep screaming about coming back, is astronomically fucking impossible. The fact that this woman's kid got blown apart and she's pushing for gun control in Hartford. These kids were murdered. I don't give a shit if they were sent straight to hell in the flesh. They were murdered. Whatever this fucking insane act that they do, like poor John Benet Ramsey, whose head was smashed in with a Phoenician hammer strike. The Jews speak Phoenicians. I don't. They do. So I don't think it was El Gringo that did it. I don't expect people to go dig and find shit like this. I'm just showing you. Look at it and judge for yourself.